Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are live, and we've been having a few technical issues, but we're here, and Pastor's going to be in here in just a second. I am Antoinette. My husband is Clifton Sawyer. This is another Heart to Heart, and we're pastors of Cornerstone Life Center. Um, and we are just now coming on, getting live, and look forward to seeing you guys this morning. I wanted to, first of all, say thank you for listening to us. Hey, Dee Dee, you're the first one here today. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me and see me good, sweetheart. I think my camera's a little twisted here. Let's see. Let me know if we're looking good and you can hear me. Hi, Tanya. I need to hook up with you, Tanya, to help me with simplifying my website if you could. Anyway, Pastor will be here in just a minute. Hey, Verndy. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. I'm going to read just a few things before Pastor comes in. He lost his glasses, and so he had to find them. Oliver helped him find them. Good morning, Sissy and brother-in-law, and CJ and Phyllis. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Thank you, sweetheart. And everything looks good on this end. We had a couple of technical issues. That's why we're just a little bit late coming in. But we're here live and in color. I'm going to go ahead and read this, and I want you to repeat it after me. Robert Williamson, hello. You and Shawnetta. Repeat it. Good morning, Katrina and Adele. And of course, my friend, my faithful friend, Oliver is here with us. I'm going to say this, and you can repeat it after me as Pastor comes in. I am the elegant fragrance of infinity. I am the timeless being. I am the secret place of God. I like that one. I am the secret place of God. I place my attention not on the knowledge that I've gained, but on the knower that I am. I place my attention not on the situation that needs to be resolved, but on the solution that I am. I am the living word. I am the heart. I am the secret place of God. I am the elegant fragrance of infinity. Now those statements are worthy of being contemplated until it becomes so fixed in you that you will have no doubt about that is what you are. And good morning, Phyllis and Sue and Leanne, my sweetheart Leanne and Deborah.
Hello out there, everybody. Had a little slight eyeglass incident I had to repair.
He did.
And it's okay.
I pray you guys have been having a good week. Ours has been fairly, not too busy this week, a little quiet. I did have some things going on inside of me yesterday, though, where I just felt out of sorts. And I realize now that what I must have been feeling, because it wore off about 9:30 last night, it just kind of dissipated. And it was more than just a physical thing. It wasn't physical so much as it was something psychological. And I couldn't think of any reason why I would have any concerns or anything right now. So I concluded that it must have been that I'm feeling the overall general feeling of the collective in this country and maybe even in the world. And I'm beginning to understand that sometimes the feelings that we have that are we consider negative feelings, moods, or whatever, that a lot of times they're not our own. They're the collective feeling, the collective in our own psyche and in our own being, and having to transcend that having to transcend the um, feelings and moods and disturbances that are going on in everyone else. And once that is transcended, then there is a lightening up of the whole burden for not only for the person who's feeling that, but for everyone. So I think that a lot of us may be feeling everyone else, and it's a little heavy at this point. But it did lift after I dealt with it over all day long yesterday. It lifted around 9:30, so I'm feeling better today about it. But I do believe that a lot of the things that we're experiencing psychologically are not our own feelings. So just take that just as a thought, to so that you don't think that you're having a problem. And when you reach a certain point in understanding who you are, there is the need for you to transcend everyone else's consciousness as well. And that happens. And when you do that, you are becoming a master. You're mastering your own psychological self as well as everyone else's. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I see a couple of people. Sonia, hey Sharon, you and Mom, I pray that you guys are doing well. Crystal, I'm glad you all are here this morning. Pastor's still getting ready because he lost his glasses and he's trying to get them back together. Hey Sister Pearl and Marlon, I'm glad you guys are here. And Jill, good morning, you wonderful, beautiful beings. You beautiful beings. And Sonia said she feels like that every time she's in the airport in the crowd. That's true. That's true. It is so true. So what is happening when that takes place is you have embodied, you begun to embody the realization that you have come into, and the process of that is feeling everyone else and feeling everything that's going through everyone else. So we're actually interceding. We're actually interceding, playing the role of intercessor. And it said Jesus was the high priest that was touched with every feeling of our infirmity. So when we take on the Christ consciousness, we are also touched with the feeling of other people's infirmity. And so it's not always your own feelings that you're dealing with. A lot of times it is the feelings of the collective, or I should say the entire earth world, that is feeling all of these different things going on right now. And that's true, Sue. The collective consciousness can be very heavy. Sometimes it can be. But you can transcend them. You can transcend that heaviness when you realize it is not their own being that is heavy. It is the actual archetype or shadow self that is just prevalent in the midst of us at this point. And Boomy, I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad you're here. She said she's been dealing with that as well. So now that you know that, I've got something I think I might read to you. Let's see if I can find it. This kind of helped me, if I can find it right quick. It helped me to understand that was what's going on with me. And I may not be able to find it because I didn't locate it here and set it up for us to read today. Okay, here it is. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if I can find it here. Give me a minute. Give me just a minute. I may have to put it aside until Pastor comes so I can find it for you. Okay, he said here, and this is Dr. David Hawkins, who I'm reading from. Let me take my glasses off so I can read. I can read better without my glasses. Let's see where I want to start. I may not have it. Oh well, I'm going to set it aside until Pastor gets here. Maybe I can find it then. I don't want to hold everybody up looking for this. So anyway, So, in the embodiment of your spirituality, let me read what Bumi said. She said, I need to learn how to deal with the feelings of others. Many friends losing loved ones, I'm starting to feel their anxiety, and I am not one to normally be anxious. Yes, Bumi, that's exactly what happens. And when dealing with the feelings of others, if you attach to their feelings with diving into their feelings as if it's your own. And a lot of people do that thinking that they're being compassionate or whatever, but not to carry the burden in the sense of taking it on and actually living it out, but taking it on and burning it up in the presence of the realization of who you know you are. Sometimes people take burdens and hold them, and then they end up just as messed up as the ones they're feeling. So I understand what you're saying. So
In order to burn it up, you'll have to ground yourself. And to ground yourself, you'll have to start doing other things that'll get your mind off of it. Don't necessarily have to be good or bad, but you need to get active
right.
because the fire is there, but it's been distracted. Your attention feeds the fire, either yay or nay, dark or light. So you have to learn to put your attention on things, find something else that you like to do, drawing, writing, reading, whatever. But taking whatever's going on in your thinking too serious will add fire to it in the sense of making it seem like it's a never-ending battle.
Okay.
Most of the battle that we're dealing with, we call Satan, to bind him and all that stuff. It is nothing but the activity, the normal activity of the brain with your attention attached to it. Okay. One of the things I was thinking before I came back to the table, I've been hearing inside my inner self. I mentioned to some of you guys about the channel that opens up the import and export of information, the docking port for all spiritual communication. And in my research and investigation into this, from the top line healing preachers, healing ministers from the United States all across the earth, I found out that everybody basically use the same channel. There's 4 or 5 things that they do. And what you do, you finally spend enough time alone honing these 5 gates. The pretty soon, those, like you hear music in your head or a song, and I listen to something and I hear it all day. But you get to the place where you are operating what is called the divide and asunder. And that's the hemisphere of the brain, the left and right brain. The merger is so blended into each other that where you're not able to tell the difference between you and what is true. It's going to take some experience. It's going to take some trial and error. All of the gifts of the Spirit in 1 Corinthians 12 in the book, they are actually spirit beings, and you are one of those beings that carry the manifestation of every last one of them in the form of your identity, your true identity.
Yes, yes.
So that's the reason why a lot of these evangelists or spiritualized people get caught up in the functions of the abilities of the spirit world. They get caught up in it with the ego because they find out how easy it is to function in these areas. And so what happens is they go off the deep end. But they all basically, in my research for 50 years of studying them, I studied from Catherine Kuhlman, A. Allen, Don Stewart, all of these guys, and some that I couldn't name, some that are coming to the forefront today, who could read your mail just like reading out of a book. But they have practiced these channels. And I found out that the channel is between the conscious and subconscious and the superconscious. In the Bible, when Jesus said something about the Father, and he and the Father were one, and some of the people came against Jesus, because he did things on the Sabbath day, and the Jewish custom was not supposed to be done. You're not supposed to do certain things.
Right.
But he said, they said because he identified himself with God and God as his Father.
Mm-hmm.
And what Jesus actually had to do was settle. Every sage that I've studied and investigated into, they have to settle the issue. Here's the mystery of this. The issue, you can't, it's not just having God in you.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to switch back and forth from oneness, never losing that identity, back over to duality. Duality and oneness going back and forth, because in this dimension here, this dream world,
this earth plane, linear
the
existence.
ego developed this ideal or this area where it would always be objects 1, 2, 3, 4, and 10.
Yeah.
Table, screen, cup.
The subject object
Right.
here in this linear world.
Right. And so what they had to do was learn how to leave themselves alone in the ego part and develop awareness of that part of them that was constantly, 24/7, constantly, not just one with God, but God. Now, you have to work on this thing about the ego, because the ego is that part of you that wants to tell everybody that I done found out that I'm God. No, that won't work. Because the Father part of you will not sanction your conversation in this area. And he will only sanction it if you are ready to see as discernment. From sometime discernment don't come as a revelation. It comes as an experience with the revelation. In other words, it becomes imparted into the substance of your experience, and you experience it back and forth. And pretty soon you'll learn how to do. You'll begin to practice switching back and forth from the Father, either one of them, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. But it will not be a mystical thing, and it will not be a struggle. And then here's what you have to, and I hear it. You won't have to pray about it. You won't have to seek God about it, because all this thing called seeking, knocking, asking, wanting, and desires, they're all speed bumps that get your attention, and you need to come to the place where these questions are not asked anymore. In other words, the asking and the question and the answer are in the same place, and the same place that is in your true identity.
Yes. Yes. Now I'm going to read what I was looking for before. Is that okay? And this again is in the book called Transcending Levels of Consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins, who's now crossed over. And it talks about, he has calibrated levels of consciousness. So when I read it, you'll understand what I'm saying. He says from the level of 700 on up, and 700 in his book is the God view of yourself. He said resistances that reside in the collective consciousness of mankind have to be transcended within the teacher.
Kind of like the habit of being the false self have to be broken.
Yes. So a lot of the things that we feel are not necessarily our own personally, but that's the collective consciousness that we're feeling. And he said it has to be transcended within the teacher. This is physically, subjectively comfortable until it reaches the consciousness level of approximately 800, and I won't go into all of that, at which time painful physical symptoms may arise, or the nervous system feels like it's carrying too much electricity, resulting in a burning feeling. And sometimes it's just a mood, it's not a burning feeling necessarily. Each time something comes up from the collective consciousness, it has to be processed. Jesus Christ sweated blood. Okay? The Buddha remarked that his bones felt like they were being broken. Numerous symptoms have been reported in these previous writings and by various mystics throughout history. So it's when you're feeling the collective consciousness, you may have those kinds of symptoms. And so that's when you transcend them, and you only transcend them, like Pastor was saying, you can only transcend them by realizing who you are at that moment and working through those feelings, realizing they're not yourself, and distancing yourself from them. When you do that, you are healing the whole collective consciousness.
Another way to say this is called disappearing in the eyes of the beloved. Disappearing in the eyes of the beloved. The desire for freedom, must be let go of.
Can you slide over just a little bit?
The
Because you're
desire,
about to move
the
out of the
desire
there
for
you go.
freedom must be let go of.
Okay.
And the reason why the desire for freedom must be let go of is because if you focus your attention on your infinite eternal identity, or I would say your saved self for some people out there, Bible scholars and biblicals, you'll have to focus. Let me go back and say it another way. Most of us come along in the church circle, wait for a next service, somebody to lay hands on you, somebody to prophesy over you, somebody to speak words over you, somebody, some event to take place in your
Yes,
daily activities
yes.
that gives you the idea that you got breakthrough. But let me tell you, when you're in maturity, these things will eventually slide off to the curve, slide off to the side. I heard a guy one time say that when I was in the factory working with Audrey Reynolds, he said, "How's the weather?" I said, "Man, it's slick out there." I said, "It's so slick, the yellow line done slid over to the side of the road." So now, that's this ideal of your false self has to slide over
It does. It does.
to the side of the road.
Yes.
It'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
See, the whole thing about change comes to an end of trying to change yourself and change others. That stop.
Yes.
But it takes up the cross. And the cross is that part of you that does not take up anything at all.
Yes. Yes. And authentic realization is not just for you. It actually changes everyone else.
In your eternal self, you are the authenticism.
Mm-hmm.
You are the authentic. Authenticism.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Drink a cup of authenticity.
Boomy, we did try to call you, sweetheart. She wrote that
We did.
Daryl had a stroke, and we did try to call you, but your mailbox was full. We will try to reach you later on. Thank you for letting us know what's happened to him, and we will follow up on that.
You have to, and another thing, and I know a lot of people, Bowman, they get over into the spiritual things, and they get over into the business side of things, and they spend more time in that. You have to understand. We have to understand that God is not foolish and presumptuous, and we should not be either. We have to keep our blood checked, our blood pressure checked, and I have a thing here where I test my
Yeah,
insulin.
you have a
everything.
pressure monitor. Yeah.
And you don't just, when we come along a long time ago, doctors used to visit the house and come by and do home visits. Nowadays, ain't no such thing as that. Now, I know of a few doctors personally that, well, Bowman, I stop right there. I see a doctor coming in to see him, and he is dispatched from the oracles of God
Thank you, Lord.
in the
Yes.
eternals
Yes.
who do house visit. When I say house visits, not physical house, but it seems like this doctor visit the kingdom house visit. It's a celestial,
It's a heavenly virtual
yeah,
visit.
heavenly virtual visit. And I see him coming in and he's checking the blood pressure and he's giving him something from the other side to bring his blood pressure down and to put him into some type of physical exercise to get his self together. But he's going to have to lay aside some of these things that he's been conditioned to believe. I don't need this. I don't have to do this. God take care of this. God will do this. Well, you got to let go of that and become really physical. That's why.
A steward over the
Yeah,
body.
you are a steward and master over this body, like you are a steward and master over your car, over your hairbrush, over your toothbrush, over your personal belongings. I almost said something you didn't want to hear, but anyway. And he'll be okay. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. But let's go into this because the desire for freedom must let go. You are the truth.
Yes.
And the truth of you is free.
Yes.
The truth of you. So you, in the you that is God you, is a truth that cannot be put on paper.
Right.
Now, when I was over on the other side, I would say it like that. in the spirit world. I was sitting at a desk. Again, I'm always at a desk waiting for information to come.
That's where we spend a lot of our time.
Yeah, and as I was sitting down, I was contemplating about if I'm going to do the miraculous works of God, how am I going to do it in my human self? Because some of these things that I wanted to do, I knew that humanity could not produce it through me.
Yes.
So what I had to do was I went over there and I was sitting there waiting for an answer. From my right side, I saw a hand come through from the right side and lay a contract on the desk. The contract was in real fine print. You'd have to have a magnifying glass to see it, but my eyes were adjusted to where I could sit straight up and look at it. And I started reading the small print like on an insurance policy. And as I read the small print, I got to the end of it, and I said, this is too much. I said, the contract in this is too much. And the hand came down.
You knew you couldn't fulfill it.
Yeah, and I was getting ready to sign on the dotted line, and every time I got ready to sign on it, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But then I saw the hand that come down, and on that hand was a thumb that had the blood of Jesus on it. He came down and stamped it, matched the imprint of Jesus' finger, his RNA, DNA, spirit, mashed on the dotted line. And he said to me, in the blood, he said, in that event, you will not be obligated to fulfill this contract. He said, I will be in you as you, fulfilling it through you.
You made me think of something
That was
when
it.
you said that. I just recently started looking and researching who was the first person who saw the Sacred Heart, because I know that you had that experience in your early conversion experience, was seeing the Sacred Heart. So I started wondering who actually saw that for the first time. I don't remember the nun's name, but it was a nun, and she actually
remember seeing about
saw the heart. And when you talked about the blood, the thumb,
Thumbprint.
she said that it was so impactful to her that she wanted to make a commitment that she would serve God with her heart for the rest of her life.
I remember reading that.
And what she did, which is a little bit morbid, a little bit drastic, is she actually carved, I can't remember what word she carved on her chest. It may have been the word heart, but don't quote me on that. But she carved it with a knife in her chest and took the blood and signed it with her thumb, with the blood.
You know, while I was saying that, I kept seeing blood come out the end of my finger. Now, I just found out that there was a healing preacher long years ago, some of you may know about him, Oral Roberts, Oral University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Richard Roberts just said this morning when I was looking at him about 5 this morning, he said his father would not go out in front of the people on the stage to minister to them. He would not go out unless he felt the weight or the hand or the static electricity of Jesus' hand in his hand.
Yes.
And
he had to have that
he
consciousness.
had to have that consciousness. And so he said, if he did not have that in his hand, he said he would not go out. Then he would say to Richard Jr., he would say, I got it. I'm ready to go.
Well, you know, Catherine Kuhlman did similar things. She paced behind stage until she realized that Catherine no longer existed.
That's right.
And she said, and when she got out there, she said Catherine Kuhlman died.
Right there at the Carnegie Hall at that door.
And the First Presbyterian Church.
Now, Richard said that he was with his daddy when he crossed over, died. And he said that his daddy imparted unto him the same experience that he had in his right hand, I think in his left hand, and he told Richard that it was going to be in his opposite hand as he ministered.
I wonder why they didn't think of the entire body,
I don't know.
but just their hand. But that's okay. There was still the element of separation in their thinking, even though God was within them.
I'm going to say this to you guys. I want you to hear this. There's a door that God made you out of. And every person you ever meet, or you meet, or they meet you, you and them, you are the door to each other. and you're going to have to pass through,
Yes.
in and out of each other.
Yes, yes, sir.
Until
Yes,
you
sir.
get so familiar with going in and out of each other
Mm-hmm.
identities
Mm-hmm.
as an eternal spirit,
Yes,
that you do it what is called second nature.
yes, yes.
Now I'm speaking mystical things to
And,
you.
and I like what Oliver posted. He said, A Course in Miracles states that when you're healed, the entire sonship is healed. There
That's right.
is only one of us.
And there's a ripple effect that goes through the universe. Everything that we're saying, you know, I'm convinced that the voice of God is our voice, and our voice that walks in the cool of the evening in the garden is our true voice. The voice that we use here in this dimension is not real, because my experience in the spirit world is that when you talk over there, you don't use mouth. You don't
Right.
use words.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. You communicate. That the communication of your faith may be
Yes.
effectual.
Effectual.
Wow.
Effectual.
Now I'm
Meaning
talking.
it's effective.
I'm
it is
talking.
effective.
I'm talking out of eternal facilitation and eternal receiving and eternal comprehension.
Now, this is not so much faith in God,
Mm-mm.
but it's the faith of God.
It's to be in this faith.
It's
Now-
God living its own life
Let me
through
show-
and by these units, these physical units.
I'm gonna show you guys something. Under duress, you're like this stress.
The whole country like this now. The whole world.
When you finally realize that you are what God is, with or without your mind's opinion,
Oh yeah.
this thing unfolds itself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It unfolds
Yes,
itself,
yes,
and
yes.
it comes
There's
back,
a letting
and
go.
then it smooths itself
Yeah,
out like
yeah.
this.
There's a letting go.
Now I just saw
sigh
something.
of relief. There's
I just saw something. I saw God take some of you out there, like you do a page, a sheet of paper. I saw God take you like a sheet of paper. God take you like a sheet of paper. Here's a piece of paper here. I see him taking a piece of paper, and he's doing this. He's marking your corners, and he's holding you in place, and he's getting ready to crease you like this. That's what God is doing to most of you, many of you on
that's
this now.
that's the same thing as a plumb line.
Yep.
So that means everything's being lined up.
You are an automatic adjuster. You are an automatic adjuster by God's adjustment. And let me tell you something. Everything that God has adjusted in your life, everything you touch and come around will be adjusted by the adjustment of God
Yes, sir.
in your life.
Yes, sir.
Your life has been designed and adjusted to move with God in a conscious and unconscious level.
Not only that, Pastor, we're actually seeing too, as an adjuster, we're adjusting the whole planet. We are adjusting the whole planet.
What do you do when you have problems with your house and you got insurance on it and it's covered? You are covered from rooter to tutor by the eternal self,
Yes.
the eternal salvation of Jesus Christ in person, the office of Jesus Christ. When they come out to look at a house, they
send the
send an
adjuster.
adjuster. An adjuster appraised the damage and how much it's going to be, what it's going to take to fix it. You are fixed. That's the reason why I say desire, the wants, and the desire to hold on to something, let it go.
Let it
Okay,
go.
okay, let me make it.
Yes.
I don't want to burden you with this.
Yes, yes.
You don't have to let it go. It's been removed
The
from
attachment,
you.
it's like a cat holding on.
It has been
It's
removed.
like a cat holding on, but when you make the determination in your heart that you do not want that attachment anymore, the universe begins to help you let it go.
You are giving God the opportunity to experience what it's like to be you. You're giving God the experience of feedback to Him of what it is like to be Him back to Himself.
Yes.
Everything that you drink and taste and experience in this day-to-day walk God is experiencing it as the Lamb of God who not only took away the sins of the world. See, the big sin that the Lamb took away is misplaced identity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Cover that area, and everything from Genesis to Revelation and of course in miracles is covered.
Yes, I like what Secret. I don't know who this is. Secret L. Suret L. Suret. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. He says, or she says, that's why when I write a paper that's important, I sign my signature and put my thumbprint because I am the seal. I like that.
Now you talking heavy, that girl.
And that's coming from a place of conscious awareness, from a place of realization, from a place of recognition, not from a place of memory.
A seed and a root from the stem of Jesse. A seed that was sown in the earth stayed there for 3 days. Lazarus in the 11th chapter of John, a seed was planted there for 4 days, longer than Jesus stayed in the grave. A seed was planted. You don't mess with a seed when you put it in ground and good soil. This seed, there are some seeds that germinate just in rocky terrain.
Yes.
A locust tree will not grow anywhere else but in the rocks. There are some rocks and some
olive
stones.
trees are like that.
Olive trees. You are a seed that was planted. You've overcome death. You've overcome tragic. You've overcome everything in Christ and Christ in you. Now God is living through you. Like it or lump it. Do whatever you want to do with it. You are now been adjusted.
Yes, sir.
To stay in the middle of the road. And every time it looks like you're veering off to the right or the left side of the road, that is a lie. You do not go off left and right. God is your adjuster. And everything that he is, you are adjusted to him. Therefore, with or without your permission, you are there.
Yes.
And you are in that path. You are the middle path of God. The true part of you is the space between every word in the book.
Yes.
Every word, every time you take a breath, like we talking now, you are the space. You are stillness. Stillness, stillness, stillness. God allowed you to be born in the physical realm
At this time. In
for
this
such
location.
a time in this location. And he chose himself. See, God knew.
And it says in Acts, he determined the bounds of our habitation.
Determined foreknowledge and mind of God in the 2nd chapter of Acts.
So listen to this. God is hidden in plain sight. We don't see him because we're the veil that's covering it. But God is hidden in plain sight, and he's appearing, but never as what we expect him to look like.
I'm wanting to pull, and I am pulling out of you the gold of the mother lode.
Yes.
I'm pulling up out of you right here today the potential of moving with God in every area of your finances, in every area of your health, in every area of your occupation, every area of every gift. And you are now coming forth as sons and daughters of God with or without the world agreeing with you. And the power to do this is the essence of your eternal self that has always existed. And you're not only moving, you're not moving by yourself, but you're bringing with you every saint and every sage and every preacher and every teacher that ever moved in the love of God. You are now baptized and filled from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet with the essence of the love, eternal love of God.
So your power is the power of the ability to see. You can see who you are. You can see who God is. You can see who everyone else is. You can see through what is being done in front of you. You have the power to see. That is our gift.
You start off having it. You start off getting it. You want to get more. You keep measuring it by physical senses. Then pretty soon you'll die to them senses.
Yes,
and you'll go totally. And you know what? You are not a Titanic that sunk. You are a Titanic that breaks through every iceberg. There is no sinking in your life. There is no failure in you. There is no lack, slack, get back, jack in you. No, gimme. We always say, gimme got his neck broke riding on a motorboat. Next, he broke his back on a paper sack.
Yeah. So this is the realization. The reality is God is always appearing but never seen. God is always appearing but never seen.
In certain instances and cases in the Bible, men that was in the presence of God, they fell down. Or they came in the presence of God and they bowed before him. Now I see God
overcome,
falling down and standing. I see some of you guys, you know you're going to fall down. So just lay on down there first.
Well, you know
and let
what?
God
I just thought about we often think of ourselves as overcomers, but I want to be overcome by God.
And you are.
And we are. Pearl says this: God incarnate, individualized as each of us. I am the Lord, and besides me there is no other. That's what the scriptures say. And Jill said, "Make me stand up just like in church." Oh my God, that's
it's
good
something
stuff.
here. Jesus said, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not mine own will, but the will of the Father which hath sent me. And he said, I and the Father are in the same place. So his high self and his human self, or his Jesus self, or his Christ self, whichever one you want to use. Let me tell you something else. There is no self outside of God that can interfere with your true identity.
There is no other self.
Hey, look, we might as well just say it like it is. You guys seem to think, some of them, that your walk with God can be interrupted.
You cannot.
Bless your heart.
It can appear to be.
You're trying to create a problem in your monkey mind, but you can't do it. It's impossible for you to interrupt God.
It only appears
because He is the life that's living this thing. Come on now. Come on.
Yes.
That old song said, come on, come on, come on. Don't you want to go? Oh, come on, come on, come on. Don't you want to go? Ow!
What's the rest?
I don't know. I could add something to it. Hey, you got to step in there. In this. Hey, look, you got the shoes on. All you need to do is look down them at your feet and say, wow, this looks like Jesus' feet. And affirm it to yourself. You are the power of affirmation.
Yes. So when I'm being the God nature, the essence of God, everything is being watched as it comes and goes, as it appears and disappears. Everything is appearing and disappearing. Nothing is permanent. So the only thing permanent is you.
Jesus said, I've received not the testimony of man, but these things I say, that ye might be saved. Now, what does it mean to be saved? I'm gonna show you how to get saved. Y'all think y'all saved because you got the Holy
Lord,
Ghost.
do we need to talk about what I talked about the other night?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my Lord.
Go ahead.
My mom, of course, she had Alzheimer's, and you guys have heard me say that before. I had the question come up in me, where does God go in the Alzheimer's patient? Because my mom was in church. She had gotten saved. She had gone through the salvation process. She had accepted that, and she had been born again, received the Holy Spirit, read her Bible, all of that. You name it. She had done it. She was there. But when those things started to be erased in her mind, I realized they only existed in her mind. They didn't exist anymore. For her, there was nothing else. It was gone. When she was cleared of all the data, there was nothing left.
That's right.
There was not even a self left. All of those experiences were in the mind. They were only in the mind, appearing in the mind, appearing in her awareness, in her consciousness. So where does all that stuff live?
That's it.
Where does it all live?
That's real stuff.
And what is it? We're watching it all. We're watching all of that.
You know what's so free about this thing? is that you don't have to work for God anymore.
No, I know. That's so liberating.
You finally get, and listen to this.
We're talking about freedom,
Yeah, you
real
talking about
freedom.
And listen to this. You finally, in your what you, I don't know how you would say it, in the Satanism and the demonism and the deliveranceism and the schismism,
Yeah, there is
you
a
finally give all this devil stuff a vacation. Now wait a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah,
You don't.
yeah.
I don't mean a vacation like 2 months, 2 weeks, and all that stuff. Then you go back to work. You are going to find out
Oh,
that
my
you don't
God.
have to have a devil to measure you from A to B. You don't need no kind of superstition,
Oh, I got that.
warfare to
Wow,
measure
wow.
you to determine whether you walking with God or not.
Oh, I don't-
One minute the
oh.
devil gets you, and the next minute God sets you free. One minute the devil gets you, you got to have a breakthrough.
Listen, I don't need a devil
No,
to overcome
no.
in order to tell me that I'm where I need to be and what it should be.
Jesus did not mention the devil unless it was necessary to make something known to others. Inside himself, he knew that he didn't have to make it
He
himself.
said
by
the
what
prince
Satan
of this
did.
world come has
Nothing in me. Nothing in you.
Nothing in
There
me.
is a holy of holy place in you where the devil and darkness and mistake does not
Cannot
have
reside.
anything in you.
Cannot reside.
Come on. Let's take it. Let's take it.
Come on up.
Shake it and
come
take
on,
it.
Come on up above principalities
Shake it and take
powers.
it. If the same spirit dwell in you, that is you, that dwelled and is and was
Yes,
Jesus,
yes,
if that
yes,
same spirit
yes.
dwell in you, then you can shake it and take it.
Yes.
Samson shook his head,
Yes. So,
and the power was
so
there.
elevate yourself. Come on up
Shake
to
it
your,
up, baby.
to your true estate and your true position. Come on up to your true position, to where there's no principalities of power.
Shake it,
Far
baby.
far above.
Come on and
principalities
twist
of
and
power.
shout.
Come on up.
Twist and shout. Shake it up.
We sound like we're gonna do a musical in a minute.
I can cut a step right now. Kill a rock, record training
We're
down,
gonna
piece
do a
of iron to catch
musical in-
rheumatism.
we're
Lord
gonna
have
we done
mercy.
preached ourselves happy.
Woo! Make Gabriel and all them boys on the other side come on over here. Come on, bring the whole crew with you over here. Come on, matter of fact, in the room, fill the room with all of them. From the angels all the way through, from the patriarchs, from the Genesis to Revelation, everybody come on in here, because this thing is hot.
Yes,
It's
it is. My ears are hot right now.
It's kind pepper.
It's good. It's good. It's good. So I said to my mom at her death, it was a blessing because
Yes.
she was clear,
Yeah.
absolutely clear. She
Yes.
had no evil, no anything, nothing. There was no thing. She had entered into the oneness, the absoluteness of what God is. And at that moment, when I looked in her eyes, there was nothing but presence. Just presence. There was no Celestine there. There was no my mama there. There was no woman who was hurt there. There was none of that. There was just presence. Pure, clear presence. Now, people who have Alzheimer's, we think that's a terrible thing. It's not terrible for them. It's terrible for the ones who have to take care of them. But those who have it, that's a blessing for them, because everything that they believe themselves to be, everything they've ever thought about that hurt them, that worked against them, is erased. It's a clearing.
Miss Sandra, I'm going to speak to you about this. You said something about your grandmother and Alzheimer's, and said at the end she was 102. My grandmother was too, and also. And said she had got to the place where she was saying good things about people. Now, I hadn't mentioned this to my wife. I was trying to wait to find out how I can say it to her.
Okay.
I have been hearing the most gratitudish words, and I know it's coming from my. It's like all of a sudden, I can hear a rock talking. I can see how I can feel a rock in my hand, and it's beginning to prophesy to me. I'm beginning to hear down through my solar plex statements about her that only God could say. about her in my inner sanctuary, in the secret place inside of me. All of a sudden, it's like consciousness and the subconscious has come up to the door of my consciousness senses, and I hear it saying some of the most gracious things about you. It says, boy, I'm trying to say it. It's like the music that I heard, or the tongues and the sound that I hear going off inside of me in syllables, is translating itself over into English words. It's like going to a foreign country and you never spoke that foreign language, but all of a sudden, you didn't have to go to school for it, but all of a sudden, you didn't have to read a book, you didn't have to go to a class.
You just understood.
All of a sudden, what is called eternal comprehension comes forward, and he says some. At the time, he said, I won't tell you what it is, but when I try to say it, something comes up and says, well, you can tell her later, but it talks about you, and it says thing. I'm gonna try to say it like he said. It's like, she's the best. She's great. She really does. She is. What is this that I see in her? Then he answers back. It's like a dialogue going on inside of me about you. He asks the question, and then he answers itself like you.
I have that dialogue about you too. I do. I have it.
I never thought, and on the other side of this thing, on the left side, somewhere it might say bad thing. Oh, you know, she's trying to take over. You know. But then the other side of me comes up and says, it's okay. That's what I hear. That's it. He said, this dialogue says, she's okay. She's okay. She and you are okay. But I hear that all the time. And here lately, and I say, and the dialogue inside says, I want to say some of the most wonderful, amazing things to her.
And we feel that about them too, don't
Yeah,
we? About
we
you
do.
guys.
We do.
We want to say the most amazing things about you guys.
I hear God.
Because that's what we see in you.
Talking about us. Inside of us.
Yes. Yes.
Well, the Father gave us Himself.
Yep.
And now we're giving back to the Father Himself.
Yes.
It is so great to be free and moving forward to more levels of freedom. But you know what, Miss Phyllis? These are steps and moves that that seem to be manifesting itself. That is what is needed for the sense world. But you know what? In your eternal self, you are the perfect. I'm gonna say it like this: you're the perfect get up and go of God. I like that. I like that.
And a lot of times, what happens? The reason why we have what I call psychological suffering, we have pain about different situations, is because we formed cocoons of comfort, and we'll make it a comfort bubble. And then all of a sudden, in order for us to expand, God will allow something to come along to burst that bubble.
You are so welcome out there. I feel your hearing, your translation. Wait a minute, I heard him say. Wait a minute, here's what he said. He said, I am now imparting to the people you're talking to a visa. A visa? I said, what for? He said, I want them to go into strange territory.
Yeah, they got to move into another country.
Oh,
a whole nother country.
Another country. And he said, this country is inside of you.
Yes, sir.
This is a land.
And Jesus said it. They said it in the scriptures. We have been translated out of darkness into the kingdom of His dear Son.
There was in history in school. There was something of a fork that we had to go across a dimension. I used to say it all the time. I feel it more than anything. Okay, here's what he said. A lot of you guys have been sensing and feeling intuitively the things of God, but you haven't been able to bring it out and translate it.
Yeah.
The manifestation of this translation is going to be open up to you, and you're going to be able to express the inexpressible, unexpressible desires of God. And it will no longer be a mystery to you guys. And it will no longer. I almost had that word came to me about the dimensional. It was a valley or a treaty for the land, two lands coming together. They had to go through this path.
Oh, I remember it. I can't think of the name of it.
And we talked about it when we were in school. And I feel the healing power of God working in your vocabulary department or your Radio Shack. Your Radio Shack. And I see God visiting your consciousness from the backside of the cross. From the backside. Wait a minute, here we go again. Some of you guys seem to be coming up against an impasse. Seem like things have stopped. Today, as I speak to you, that impasse has been broken. I see railroad tracks that are being laid across terrains where they said in your life you would never be able to do this. I see you doing the miracle of impossibilities.
Wow.
And I see you taking this track through swamps and it's solid ground. You don't have to struggle anymore. Your miracle healing power, Jesus self, is now presenting on the table. Oh, I almost had that table. That when I said table, I almost had that dimension.
That word you're thinking of.
Yeah, but it's something in geography.
I know. I can't remember.
And plains and land.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I can feel it. And the Mile Trench or the Mile Valley or something like that. I see you guys laying ground and track for the new path to walk through. Now, this new path is not so much physical as it is a change in the way you see things.
Yes, it is. It is.
Your seer
Yeah.
is actually revealing itself to you, and I see some of you cutting a step right now.
And many of us are stepping into places of uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
where there's not a lot of certainty as to what's going on and how it's going to happen, how it's going to pan out. But there should be a sure-footedness as to knowing that you are on the right track. And that's what we want to make sure, that you know you're on the right track in spite of the uncertainty, in spite of the uncomfortableness of the changes of this time. You are on the right track.
Wow. Well, I thank you guys for listening in with us today. And Brother Oliver is here, and he's working on this thing. I tell you, there's no such thing as trouble. We stand face to face with anything that look like trouble and move through it. Oh yes, I see. You know what I just saw? I saw you guys sitting at a table, and we had a banquet, and Jesus was sitting there, and Jesus just said to me to tell you guys. He said, "I'm going to cut the cake and serve every one of you a extra piece."
Oh, that sounds good.
And he said, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to serve you and give you the best cake you could ever have. And the taste of heaven, when it hits your mouth and your tongue, it will assimilate itself all through your body and manifest supernatural manifestations of a fragrance of the miraculous."
That's it. It's supernatural manifestation. Supernatural. You guys are going to see the supernatural manifestation. You're going to see the actual sustaining of things that could have happened that won't happen. You're going to see all of that.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation. Okay.
Wow.
We are not troubled. We are in the transition. Okay, that's all right. You want to transition? Go ahead. But you're not doing it by yourself now.
That's right.
It is no longer you that live, but Christ that live. Shift your inward perception.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. And we are moving with you in everything that you do. And we'll be looking forward to talking to you guys again on Tuesday night at 7.
Yes, and Jill has already placed how you can give to the church and to us. You can use, and also I want to encourage you guys, some of you have actually started to use our PayPal, which is listed on the Facebook page as well, where you can give to Pastor and I. Or you can use the Cash App, which is $A Sawyer C. And if you want to give to the church, there's multiple ways to give to the church. You can text, as Jill has put up, or you can hit the link that she's put inside the comments here, and that will take you directly to Cornerstone where you can give. And I want to just thank you so much for what you guys have been doing. Pastor and I really have seen you guys support us and support the church, and it's been wonderful to know that we don't have to carry that burden.
That's right.
To know that you guys are fulfilling your obligations, those of you who have been with us for a long, long time, and even our new friends and family who are coming in and blessing Pastor and I and helping us with the,
And I know
the budget as well.
we know that there are some of you guys that are not online with us now, but you're listening to us. You're in different parts of the country, all around the country, and you guys are you're with us too. We may not be able to see you on the screen in your comments, but we know that there are some people out there that we're reaching now that are being freed and being blessed. And I blessed all of you with the hand of God. Father, in Jesus' name, as I lay my hands on the screen right now, I bless every person right now. And I move the power of God through me and them back and forth to where they can see the moving of God in their life in such a refined way that they are beginning to rejoice like they never have. Thank you for the miracle.
Thank you for the miracle. And don't forget, we have our conference coming up September the 18th through the 20th, and that's a free conference, so you need to go ahead and register. Make sure you do that. There's a link also on the page here where Pastor and I are going to be speaking in that conference. So we would love to have you participate in that with us. And, and we're looking forward to it. We just had an interview with Bill on Friday. And it went very, very well. We're looking forward to this.
And Miss Phyllis, we haven't seen you and John in a long time. I wish we could see you. We miss you. I thank you. I think about you when I see you, when I don't see you. Thank you for coming in with us. All you little Dixons out there, and the little harps out there, and the little blues over yeah.
And one more thing, I always allow our videos to stay on the Facebook page probably for a week or two, and then I upload all of them and delete them from the Facebook page so that you can go to our YouTube channel and see them all. So please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. That will help us as well. We'll get more followers there.
Thank you.
So we thank you so much, and we will see you on Tuesday. And I need to say this, Pastor.
Go ahead.
Pastor and I decided in September we probably will not be doing every Tuesday night. So this Tuesday coming will be our final Tuesday until we get through September, right? For Facebook Live. Right. But we will be back on Sunday morning, and we may be doing some impromptu live. So just keep in touch with us.
Keep in touch, okay?
Keep in touch with us.
A lot of pop-up just any time now. Okay.
All right, we love
Enjoy
you guys.
your day. Have a great Sunday evening and a great next week.
Stay blessed. Stay healthy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.